guess every sport has a way of honoring its best athletes. Football has its all-pro team. Baseball has the all-star game. In the fishing world, we have a way too. The Bassmasters Classic.
26 boats filling the bay, waiting for the first light of day, seeing the signal from a ray. It's the classic again. Boats and men, they are as one, racing for places in the morning sun, fighting the wind and bearing the cold, to find a bassman's goal.
The Classic has traditionally been a mystery tournament, but for 1977, the Bass Anglers Sportsman's Society has chosen to announce the site in advance. That site is Lake Tohopekaliga, Toho for short, a little central Florida lake with a big reputation for lunker bass. But the announcement hasn't eased any of the tension for these guys. It merely signals the end to a year of hard work. For 12 months, over 1,000 anglers have fished qualifying tournaments to get here. Only the 26 best have made it. This is their all-star game, and it's worth $25,000 to the most valuable player. All they're waiting for is the signal from the head referee.
Searching the bank for a place he calls home, my partner and I, the waters we roam, slice through the waves, we cut through foam, searching for bass again. A bass is a creature of cunning and skill. He moves around wherever he will. We cast for him shallow, we cast for him deep, trying to find where he sleeps.
To an outdoor rider like me, the Classic is a dream come true. There are 1,000 stories here. To get one, all you have to do is ask. The one I like is how the fishing world has developed since the creation of bass. What better place to start than with the man who's been there since day one, John Powell.
Well, you know, Bill, this thing all started back 10 years ago. Ray Scott and Montgomery got the idea of competitive bass fishing. There was a little bit of objections to it to start with, but we really got in there and proved it could be done and done right. We don't kill the bass, we catch them, put them back. Right now we've got about 300,000 men involved in the Bass Anglers Society, and we think it's the greatest thing that ever happened to bass fishing.
It not only changed the industry, but it's affected the lives of the anglers too. Take highly ranked pro Ricky Green, whose fishing career started solely on his reputation.
Well, a guy at Arkadelphia there heard I was a pretty good bass fisherman. He owned a boat company there. And he decided to sponsor somebody to tournaments. So he picked me out and sent me to my first one at Sam Rayburn in 1968. And furnished my boat and paid my entry fee. And I thought, man, that's the greatest thing in the world.
It was so great, in fact, Ricky left a lucrative career as a chemist to become a full-time fisherman. And then there are pros like Paul Chambly. Paul started the tournament trail just to improve his bass fishing.
And as it turned out, it's kind of gotten out of hand. I started, like I say, as a hobby, and it's worked into a secondary business with me, and I thoroughly enjoy it. The people that you've got fishing the tournament trail are from all walks of life, but we've all got one thing in common, and that's the love for bass fishing.
Have these 26 men left their mark on fishing? You better believe it. Their endorsements sell boats, motors, and tackle, the same as Hank Aaron pushes bats and O.J. Simpson peddles footballs. But something even more important is going on here. Something that can be best seen through the eyes of an outdoor writer like Homer Circle.
You know, looking back to 1967, old Ray Scott came to Arkansas and told me about this tournament idea. Bass fishermen back then were sort of a homogeneous bunch of people that fished for bass. No real identity or face or voice. I think if nothing else that the Bass organization and Ray's dream has sort of established what a bass fisherman should look and perform
and really act like it on the water.
I guess it's like the fella says. We all like to have a model to follow. And when that model's a good one, well, it can improve the whole sport.
I think one of the biggest changes I've seen in bass, and one of the most beneficial, was the changing in to the release your catch thing after the first Bassmasters Classic out in Las Vegas. Ray Scott started that the next year, and as a result, it's spread throughout bass fishing, and now the outdoor riders, such as myself, don't see a lot of people coming in with 8, 10, 12 bass wanting a picture in the paper. They'll come in with a 9-pounder, an 8-pounder, but the thing of bringing in a couple of limits is just about unheard of unless the guy wants some small fish for dinner.
But don't think everyone's been won over that easy. There are many riders skeptical, even today. That's one of the advantages of the Classic. It gives us the opportunity to get a little first-hand intro into the world of the Bass Pro, so we can tell our readers back home.
Well, this is my first Classic, and I tell you, I've had quite a lot of early impressions changed. I think the most important one is that I'm finding the champions in this profession are like champions in any profession. They're really first-class people. You know, I mean, top first-class people. I think some people got the idea that all the guys that are bass fishermen or tournament bass fishermen are just fugitives from hard work.
Well, I guess when the final verdict is in, the last few years have been pretty good to bass fishing. Boats are safer, tackle's been improved, as well as fishing technique. Even more important, an almost forgotten pastime has finally taken its place as one of America's most popular sports.
And I really believe because of all this improvement, the know-how and the knowledge that passed along in tournaments and so forth, these are the good old days you're going to look back on 10, 15 years from now.
There's a unique phenomena about bass fishing. After the work's over, the sweating begins. Especially when the first man to weigh in has a limit of fish. Larry Nixon is a fishing guide in his native state of Texas, but a newcomer on the tournament trail. But his greenness didn't stop him from finding nearly 15 pounds of fish.
Okay, Roger Moore. This is our best dress I know.
Today's first flight contained most of the tournament favorites, but several didn't have much luck. Bo Dowden fared better than most, always the bridesmaid. Bo finished second last year in both the Classic and the Bass Champ tournaments. His catch today should put him among the leaders.
Give him a great hand.
If Dowden's been the bridesmaid, Ricky Clunn is the bride. Clunn became bass fishing's newest superstar this year by winning the Champ and Classic tournaments.
And his weight.
Now it looks like he's solved the puzzle of Lake Toho. Rick is one short of the limit, but it's the weight that counts. Over 19 pounds.
Give him a great hand, Rick.
His biggest fish is 7 pounds, 7 ounces. If it holds up as the day's best, it'll pay a bonus of $100 a pound. Rick is followed by the 1977 Angler of the Year, Bill Dance. Bill's always a heavy favorite, but he prefers a little deeper water than Toho has to offer.
Tell you what, $25,000 ride, I can show you gave it to you. 32,000, they represented all our fellows at rank and grassroots bass fishing.
That seems to be the story for the day. A lot of big-name fishermen are finding Toho a little tougher than they expected. The closest anyone has come to Clunn's fish is a 5-pound, 10-ounce beauty by Billy Westmoreland. Steve Goodwin has the last decent string of the day. There are 7 in all, but they barely average a pound apiece.
The leader for the day is the pros.
As the final anglers come in, a lot of reporters are checking their totals. For a solid week, we've heard rumors about the size and numbers of the Toho bass. Some of the locals have estimated it would take 75 pounds to win a 3-day tournament like the Classic. Maybe so, but it only took 5 pounds to make today's top 10. Well, that just about wraps it up for out there. It's time for 50-some-odd writers to spill a little ink. The About the only thing we have to report, though, is the bass are winning. I guess it just goes to show you, knowing the lake ahead of time doesn't always help.
Get up here in this heavy stuff in a minute. I'm going to tear one up, or tear a rod up.
It didn't take these guys long to figure out the grass is where the action is. It's about the only cover Toho offers a bass. The bottom is mostly sand, with almost no structure like stump fields or creek channels.
I'm rearranging this cabbage patch up here in front of the boat.
Toho is small by most standards, only 12 miles long and 4 wide. Actually, it's part of a whole chain of lakes. 2 others, Cypress and Hatchenhaw, are connected by a small canal. But most of the pros are staying in Toho. That's where the big fish are. In fact, the record for this chain of lakes, 16.5 pounds, came out of here just a few months ago. Toho has been blessed with this grassy cover for a long time. In fact, it's overly blessed. For a lake this small, it offers a rather unique problem.
Fishing this grass, there's so much grass and not enough fish to go around in the grass, so you just got to really be lucky to know which spot of grass to stop on. The grass is, we need the grass. We've got to have the grass in here for cover. Otherwise, it wouldn't be any fish. If it was just a punch bowl type lake, we wouldn't have any fish in here. So we've got to have the grass. But we've got so much grass here, we just don't know which grass bed to fish.
It sort of makes you feel like you're in a roulette game. There are so many numbers to choose, all of them potential payoffs, but only one a sure winner. Well, a lot of the guys are beginning to think their winning number isn't even on the board.
We haven't got a real technique worked out that'll catch these fish regularly. We're catching a few of them, but they're few and far between. There are plenty of fish right here. There must be 75 or 80 bass in this one little pocket here. And they're biting because I can see them chasing the minnows and stuff.
But like I said before, these guys are pros. If there's a way to catch these fish, they'll find it. There's more bass fishing experience on this lake today than anywhere else in the world. Most of these fellas fish over 250 days a year. There's not one of them that can't tell you more tricks of the trade in an hour than you could learn on your own in a lifetime.
That wasn't as thick as my wife's coffee. I could tell because the pole didn't break. Usually the spoon does.
Isn't it funny? With all this experience, with all this know-how, there are still days when nothing but a stick of dynamite would work. Just like I figured, the reports from Classic Control say the fish have shut off, but good. When it gets this bad, a man tends to get a little desperate. There's no telling what some of these guys might try to weigh in.
I've got to weigh this one in. I have got to. They might even give me Angler of the Year award for this. They might. In a couple of years, who knows? I may be up there and have my own TV series.
Tough, isn't it? Have you ever known it to be any tougher in all your fishing days? Here we are, South Carolina.
Well, unless things have changed since their final report, this could be one of the shortest weigh-ins in bass history. Only 30 fish are shown on today's board. Already a lot of red-faced, empty-handed fishermen are sneaking in, just hoping to escape Ray Scott and that microphone. About the only bright spot in the early going was Bill Stevens of Alabama. Bill is this year's representative from the Bass Chapter Tournament. His 3 bass ought to be enough to push him all the way to the top 5.
8 ounces. You are the man.
The first good-sized lunker came in with Dave Glebe of Stockton, California. Dave is another angler in his first Classic. At 6 pounds 10 ounces, this beauty is a shoe-in for big fish of the day.
All right, brother.
Doug Odom is the only man to report in with more than 3 bass. Most of his 6 fish total came out of a school just before weigh-in time.
8 pounds 9 ounces. Doug Odom, did you catch those fish the last time?
The second place man, Larry Nixon, came in next.
Larry Nixon of Texas. He does have 2 bass, as he reported. Weight, 4 pounds even. What was your guess?
Today he has 4 pounds even. Larry's 2-day total can't even match Clunn's catch from yesterday.
All right, here we go. Let's take a look. Bo Dowden.
Bo Dowden didn't fare much better either. In fact, the list of skunked anglers is beginning to sound like a fisherman's who's who. Billy Westmoreland, Bill Ward, Paul Chambly, Tom Mann, and several others completely wiped out.
I have no excuses. We threw them our best pitch. They beat us to our knees. Bo said tomorrow's going to be a tougher day than today. If it is, we might as well sleep in on it.
That still ain't bad. Let's give Roland Martin a pretty good doggone hand. Roland, if I believe that, is that not the biggest catch you've had all day?
Roland Martin is one of the few long-time pros that caught anything at all. His 3-fish total of 8 pounds, 6 ounces will move him from 19th all the way to 6th place.
Rick Clunn.
The last man coming through the checkout line is Rick Clunn. 25 guys breathed a sigh of relief as they saw his sack. Rick has only 2 fish, but they're good for 5 pounds. Still, that leaves everybody with a fighting chance for tomorrow. Only 36 bass were weighed in today, less than 1.5 fish per man. Unless things get a whole lot better overnight, one nice-sized hog could settle a whole issue.
He had a bite, though. That thing, Curry. Let's give him a nice hand. He got a bite.
Oh, he got a mosquito. Oh, he says a bite on the side of his face. What's that? Oh, mosquito bite. Oh, well, I take that all back, folks. He didn't even get a bite. Nothing there, bite?
I had one little crack all day, Ray. Then I had one little 6-incher that got off at the boat. I was real proud of him, though.
Yeah, the biggest fish I ever caught was 11 pounds, but I expect to catch one bigger than that any minute.
I guess there are a million ways to catch a fish. A million different combinations of lures, lines, water temperature, and structure. It's just there are times when none of them seem to work. It can be as frustrating as a bent hook. "26 of the best fishermen America has to offer have literally thrown everything in the book at Lake Toho. It looked for a while like some of them were on the verge of discovering the lake's pattern. Then a little cold front came through, so slight the fishermen hardly noticed it. All of a sudden, nothing seemed to work anymore. Most of the guys have spent the whole week fishing the reed-like growth. Local lore states the real giants come from here. Seems that snails deposit their eggs on the reeds, only to have them knocked off into the water. If you fish them long enough, sooner or later you'll hit the big bonanza. Or so they say. It was starting to look like the Toho giants were only a lot of bull. After his fast start, rookie Larry Nixon thought Toho was going to be a breeze. He'd caught his first day limit by chasing schools. Now, school is out, and so is his luck. The canals offered Bill Ward a respectable start. The next day, he was skunked looking for a better pattern in the open water. Today, he's back in the canals again with renewed hopes.
There's a 3-pound pickerel for you.
Bill Stevens has more at stake than proving to the pros he can catch a bass. Bill represents all the Federation fishermen across the country. He's gotten off to a good start, finishing in the top 5 after the second day. Now things are starting to go a little sour.
What I'd do to swap that pickerel for that? Yes.
Clunn had discovered his pattern in a bed of hyacinth. It seemed the fish were only hitting as he worked his way out. He was probably dislodging food on his way in and picking up the fish on his return trip. But that was Wednesday. Now he's struggling like everybody else. What makes it more frustrating is a report coming in over the CB. One of the boats has a limit of close to 16 pounds. If it's someone in the top 10, it'll be all over. Well, you can hear Toho sizzling like some huge pressure cooker. As close as it is, everyone knew one good cast could mean $25,000. You might say first place could be on the line.
what really gets probably me more excited than anything else is when you set the hook on a fish and the fish pulls you instead of you pulling the fish.
What better way to start a weigh-in than with Alabama's pride, Bill Stevens.
Congratulations, Bill.
Bill's been a sentimental favorite all week, but with only 2 fish, his chances have just about gone down the drain.
Sonny Viola is from Zowale, Louisiana.
The first nice stringer belongs to newcomer Sonny Viola. Sonny managed to pick up 6 stragglers this morning, good for 10 pounds. Doug Odom started out the day in 4th place, but he could only land 3 small fish today.
South Carolina angler. Doug was in 4th place yesterday. And give it pow. Did it, honey.
If there's a man here who hates a shallow water lake like Toho, it's Bobby Murray. The deeper the water, the better off he is. Bobby won the first Classic at Lake Mead in 1971, but he's had it rough this week. He started off today dead last in the standings, but a school of fish changed his luck. Within an hour, he had a limit weighing 16 pounds 12 ounces, enough to catapult him into 6th place. The 3rd place man is next. Bo Dowden needs 7 pounds to take the lead. But like everybody else, he's had his problems today.
Roland Martin, one of the all-time money winners, 6th place through yesterday with 11 pounds and 3 ounces. Today he's made a pretty darn good step.
Roland Martin continued to move up the ladder with another 8-pound string. But a bad first day cost him his chance for a win. Bill Ward improved his luck with enough fish to make the top 10. One of them, a 5-pound, 10-ounce beauty, should take the day's lunker prize.
What did you report earlier?
Well, the stage is about to be set for the final act. The 2 leaders are in. Larry Nixon is first to hit the scales with 4 bass. He's the only guy left with a good chance to pass Clunn.
6 pounds, 1 ounce.
Counting bonus ounces for live fish, his weight comes to 6 pounds 5 ounces. That puts him 1 pound ahead as Clunn makes his way to the scales. Rick doesn't have much. Only 1 small fish. If it's less than a pound, it's all over.
Now let's remember, 2 pounds 11 ounces and he's champion.
2 pounds 11 ounces. Rick Clunn wins his 2nd straight Classic.
Rick Clunn is the man. Let's bring him up here. Ricky Clunn.
In a little over a year, Rick Clunn has taken home over $60,000 from Bass-sponsored tournaments. But like any champion, he'll be the first to tell you he couldn't have done it alone.
I couldn't begin to tell you with the contribution she's made and the support she has put up with, and the things she's put up with me. She supported us the first couple of years. She drove about 60 miles one way to work and 60 miles back for 2 years while I was trying to get a guide service started and trying to get the tournament circuit going. I couldn't have done it if she hadn't kept her job. Sitting by the phone, hope somebody would call and ask me to go take them fishing.
Ain't that fantastic? Nowhere but in America that happens, folks. Let's give one more big hand and wrap it up. Rick, congratulations to you. You're a great fella. And we'll be looking forward to having you down here in next January.